Welcome to another episode of Conversation Cocktails with your host, me, Lenny B. In this episode, we speak to Dave and Julio of the band Enziguri. We sat down and just bullshitted a lot. So check it out. Roll that fucking footage. Alright guys, welcome. First off, I gotta ask, Enziguri.
Yes.
How did you, I know what it means. Can you explain to the people what it means?
Sure. You want me to go?
Yeah, why not? It's a wrestling move, basically.
Yeah.
You know,
Isn't it a Japanese,
It's like a bastardized American word from
Yeah.
two Japanese words. The word Enzo, which means I think head, and then Guri, which means chop. So it's like head chop. I think Royce figured that out. It was really interesting. He's like, this can't be nothing.
The actual move is something different altogether, though, right?
It's like a spinning head kick.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, I looked it up and I was just like, what, is this a real word? Because, you know, when you see it, and I've mispronounced it a dozen times before I got it right. I was just like,
Yeah, we get Enziguri.
Enziguri was my favorite.
You know, Inzugazi.
These guys, they say Enzugazi.
Inzugazi, you know, fucking, you know, and Chucky kept fucking like, no, it's Enziguri. I'm like,
Yeah, he had it surprisingly like smooth. Oh, Enziguri.
yeah, I could barely read. Are you kidding me? What got you guys into fucking hardcore? Or music in general. I mean, it doesn't have to be hardcore. I mean, nobody just steps into hardcore.
Yeah.
You know, if anyone says that they step into hardcore, they're usually full of shit.
Yeah,
You know?
it definitely took. I remember the day like hardcore became part of my thing. It was in high school. I like, you know, grew up. I loved punk rock, and I was like a punk kid.
Yeah.
And then my boy came up to me. He's like, "Yo, that punk shit you like? That shit is dead. That shit is over, man." Because at that point, it was like, I think Good Charlotte was like waving the punk flag. So he's like, "Yo, listen to this shit." He threw like an Agnostic Front record in my lap. He threw like a couple other things. I was just like, oh, this is everything I liked or wanted in punk, but it's like tough as shit, and these guys are all from New York, so that's what got me there.
Yeah. For me, I've always loved music, but I saw a band in the Bronx like when I was about like 14, 15, and I thought I can do this, and so I learned basically like that, watching punk bands at an early age. Hardcore was something that I got into a little bit later, but I can't honestly pinpoint and tell you like where exactly like I went in that direction though. I don't.
To be a punk rocker though in the Bronx, I mean, Bronx. I mean, I've spoken about it with so many dudes from the Bronx. Bronx is always kind of like a metal outpost, first and foremost.
Yeah.
You know, when I remember going up to the Bronx and going up to the South Bronx especially, you know, like the Concourse and Grandview and all these other fucking places where cops would stop you with no problem, like, what are you doing up here?
Yeah.
And we're talking 1992.
Right.
You know, so, you know, Bronx is a lot. Well, that part of the Bronx is kind of the same. I'm not gonna lie. I just went up to Frank's spot not that long ago. I was like, wow, did the neighbor get worse? He's like, yeah, it did actually.
The Barrio, baby.
Yeah, no shit. It's like and it was always like this, like I said, this metal outpost. You know, it was always like fucking dudes in straight leg jeans and high top Nikes, right? And fucking Spanish dudes fucking with long curly hair and MCs, and so to be a punk,
Spike bracelets.
yeah, and to be like a punk in the Bronx, I mean, to be into hardcore in the Bronx was like one thing. To be a punk is like to be fucking extremely like outcast.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it really was.
And we put ourselves on display because we used to hang out at a parking lot that was right on East Tremont, right across from the 7-Eleven, and people would drive by and be like, "Freaks!" and fuckers just wing bottles at us and like.
You guys went to Lehman?
No.
No, which high school did you guys go to?
I went to Stepinac up in Westchester.
Alright.
Yeah, I went to Mount St. Michael on the border of Westchester and the Bronx.
Alright, so, yeah, because Lehman, I remember, Lehman used to have these Battle of the Band things.
Oh, yeah.
That was the first show I ever played.
Yeah.
You did one of those?
Yeah.
Dude, I was very impressed the first time I went to a Lehman Battle of the Band. It was like probably in like the early 90s, and I was just like, wow, these guys got lights, a PA, a full production. I was just like, Meanwhile, my fucking school was underfunded. You know, I went to humanities down in the village, and my school was criminally underfunded. The arts were basically hanging on by a fucking thread. So when I went up there, I was just like, wow, this is where this is where the money I'm supposed to be getting is going. They talked a good game. They got a fucking PA system out of it. That's, you know, but you know, I always felt like Dave Rose, especially, who was a teacher up there for a while. You know, like he turned a lot of kids on, you know, to, you know, music, which
Definitely.
was
Yeah, the live music. Yeah.
you know, which is kind of like a cool thing, because I always felt like, you know, New York City, especially the public school system, needs to like fund the arts more. You know, we don't. You know, the first thing that always gets cut in a school budget is the arts, art programs, music programs, extracurricular activities, unless they have a sports team, and then that's a whole different fucking ball game altogether. You know, but what was your first hardcore shows, or what was your first? Fuck hardcore. What was your first shows?
My first show was in the Bronx, the Manheim Beach Club.
Was that the 245 show?
245.
Yeah, as I said, that was my first show too.
Manheim Beach Club. I actually know people who work up
was
there.
that the one with 5 cent deposit?
I don't know, man, my brain's fried. I just know 245 plays.
Is that the show that Andrew Poo got kicked in the head?
I think so, yeah.
And like, yeah, 245 at Manheim Beach Club.
What
That
year?
was-
You remember the year?
It was like 02 or 03?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I think it was 02. I feel like,
Really, your first show wasn't like some wacky arena rock thing?
oh,
Yeah.
I mean, it's all right to admit. I'll tell you my first fucking show, 1986, Rat and Poison
oh, nice,
at
nice.
the MSG. You know, it's just like, wow, this is, you know, first time smelling like fucking arena weed. You know, like what's that smell? Oh, that's the smell that comes out of Dad's bedroom.
Yeah.
You know, like
I
all right,
recognize that.
I recognize that smell. It's everywhere. It's permeating my fucking clothes. You know, and that just sort of that whole like just seeing music like presented in that way at you was just like, wow, I gotta play an instrument. I gotta do something with myself. You know, because to me it was just like, wow, it's fucking, you know, just hearing amplified music like blasting at you, and then, you know, especially back then with fucking Rat and Poison, they were like, you know,
Right.
you could say what you want about Poison at the time, but when that fucking record came out, it was like, holy shit.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and then, you know, Rat went round and round, and fucking all the other fucking songs, which I can't remember at the time, because I can't remember the last time I listened to a Rat fucking record. It's been a while, you know. But growing up in the Bronx, though, and especially growing up in the Bronx and playing music, what are the challenges?
Finding people to play with, and just putting together a band. Like, we were lucky that the group that we would hang out with, somehow everybody learned an instrument, and like everybody came together, and like you were in a different band, and I was in like a different, like when we were like 13, 14.
Yeah.
We all
'Cause,
like split up in groups and like started our own like separate little things. We all
Yeah.
kind of fell into it, you know. Like we always wanted to do a project together growing up, but we ended up doing different things for a long time. We finally got to that place so we could do that,
Right.
you know. But it was always hard to find people to play. I mean,
That's
outside of
that
the,
was
like
the
our
hard part.
friend group, it was hard to find other
Yeah.
people. If you lost a member, you needed to do all that. It's still hard now.
Right, especially like as you would go and like people would like fluctuate in and out of the band, like just trying to replace them with like, well, I kind of know this guy, but he's from like Portchester, or like this guy's from here, like his mom's gonna need to drive him to practice, and
Yeah.
you know, that was. But I think we were pretty lucky because a lot of like you played in a garage, I played in Danny's garage. Yeah, so
We were
So,
fortunate
oh,
to
so
have
you
that.
really didn't have to deal with the rehearsal space thing.
not till we were older.
Not till we were older.
Yeah, yeah.
Lucky. You know, I mean, the rehearsal space thing, dude, when you're like
Crack
fucking
house?
18, 19
Yeah.
years old and you're paying like, you know, back in the early 90s, you're paying $18, $20 an hour. You're like,
Fuck yeah.
you know, you go, holy shit, $20 back then was like paying $50 now.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like,
I was gonna say 20 still hurts me by the hour now.
I don't have that problem where I got my drummer's basement's like literally a 5-minute walk.
Yeah?
That way. Yeah.
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah, we're lucky, I guess, in that way. I mean, but, you know, to be really honest with you, we've gotten to that point now with Crazy Eddie where we rehearse seasonally.
Yeah.
We rehearse once a season. Well, everyone does it.
You know, you got like a game day.
Well, yeah, that it's sort of like, you know, I mean, me and Jason, the drummer, we get together once a week just to kind of like fuck around. We run through the set in a half an hour,
Right.
and then jam out for another like half an hour and just bullshit. And then when things come up like recordings or whatever, the band gets together or like, let's rehearse, guys. Because usually our goal as a band at this point, because we're all, we're also, everyone's in their 40s at this point.
Right.
So we look at it as everyone goes home and they do their homework. That's a major thing I think a lot of people forget about. It's like, you can go and rehearse with the band.
For like the
whatever.
2 hours. And
yeah, and whatever it is. But,
you need to put in the...
You need to put the work in here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You need to put the work in here. You need to fucking take yourself fucking seriously. You can have as much fun as you want. It's about, it's about taking yourself like as a serious musician.
Yeah.
I mean when I was in Fahrenheit, we practiced 2 to 3 days a week. And the floater day, which we always called it, was Sunday, unless we had a show on Saturday.
In which case you would call
Yeah,
it.
and then we were like, we're not doing fucking Sunday.
Yeah,
Fuck
yeah.
that. We would show up back on Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday with our days. And did that for years, to the point where we could shut the lights off, play with the lights off. We could get fucking shit-faced drunk or shit-faced high, and still fucking pump out the set. And it got to the point where just we would just do stupid things like, all right, everyone, let's just not look at each other and play.
Right.
Like everyone would turn a different way just as like let's not make eye contact. Let's see if let's see if we can play. It's to that point. But yeah, I mean, Enziguri, because you guys have that quintessential like New York thing going. There's a bit of Sick of It All, and there's a bit of H2O in there. There's a couple other little things in there that I hear. And you guys definitely wear it on your sleeve, your influences.
Oh,
and
yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that. I think everyone needs to wear their influences more on their fucking sleeve. I think some people tend to...
Trying to hide it?
Yeah, it's like, there's a lot of bands, I'm not going to get into that because I don't want to slag anyone. But there's a lot of bands that are afraid to, like, it's obvious, like, it's kind of like when Dog Eat Dog, which was a very obvious band, they tried to hide the whole, like, they were essentially a Leeway ripoff band. In the beginning, the demo and then into the EP, you heard the Leeway influences. There's nothing wrong with that. It was what it was. I think what fucked them was calling their fucking record All Borough Kings. It's like, you're from New Jersey. There's no boroughs in fucking New Jersey.
Yeah.
It's like...
Matt loves that band, but he's a Jersey guy.
Listen, they're still very popular in Europe. They played the Black Thorn not that long ago. Less than 50 people paid. You figure it out. So what bands that you like really influence the fuck out of you guys?
You want to go first?
That's an interesting question.
And it doesn't have to be hardcore. I mean, like what was, and in fact, fuck that question. What was the first music you remember like listening to where you go, oh shit, and like the first record you bought with your own money?
The first record I bought with my own money, I think I bought Green Day's Insomniac on cassette.
All right.
But I was like, a little kid at that point.
There's nothing wrong with that, dude. And my first, I could tell you the first record I bought with my own money was Meet the Beatles.
Nice.
1981. You probably I wasn't even fucking born in 1981 yet. But yeah, there's nothing wrong. Everyone has a beginning, and...
Yeah, that was definitely like my gateway into like punk rock, into like,
You mean music in general?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be heavy music. What was the thing that floated your boat that fucking turned you on? That like you bought. You're like, kind of like here's for instance, like when I was a kid, when we used to go to my relative's house out on the island, right? CBS FM was the thing. You know, so I grew up on Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons.
Nice.
I grew up on fucking Chuck Berry. I grew up on the oldies. You know, that was like my introduction into music, and then obviously the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Who was fucking one of my top 10.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, most of my top 10 bands are not even hardcore bands. You know.
Oh yeah, that's yeah.
You know, and then I think a lot of people again tend to hide that. You know,
They
they're
want
like,
to like strictly be hardcore.
it's stupid. It's stupid.
Hardcore.
You can't be that way. You
Yeah,
know, it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
music is music. What turns you on turns you on.
I'm all over the place musically.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what was your like what really got you going?
Well, that first record that I bought was the Slim Shady LP.
Really?
It was. Yeah.
No shit. That was
was like-
1998. I believe.
Was it like I think yeah, it was 98,
98, 98 or 90. No, I think that was the first Slim Shady record. It was the first record, right? The Slim Shady
Yeah,
record?
yeah.
1998. Because I remember I got into a fight with an ex-girlfriend about her buying that. I was just like, why are you buying that crap? Corny white motherfucker rapping with
Yeah.
blonde hair. You know, it's like, you know, I
What are you gonna buy next? A Snow record?
well, the thing was, I grew up on like old school hip hop.
Yeah,
I grew
of
up on
course.
like that big 808 fucking sound, that Run DMC sound,
Yeah,
that
and like actually having like a
you know,
turntable.
like you know, guys like really DJing, and
Yeah.
you know, the Beasties obviously was a fucking big influence. Although I did not like the first Beastie Boys record.
No?
No, I you know what it was? I was in elementary school when that came out. And when that came out, all the girls swooned. Because like, oh, Mike D, he's so dreamy. You know, you're just like, get out of here.
What'd you think of the punk stuff that they
Oh, no, that was cool. I mean, to be really honest with you, I thought it was shitty. But, you know, because there's so much better punk stuff from that era, you know, especially coming, like,
from that scene?
from that, you know, you had, when they were out, the Bad Brains were fucking popping. The
Yeah.
fucking AF were popping, you know. Fuck, who else was popping at that point? There was just so many good bands from that scene that were even worse, the Mad. So many great fucking bands. So, I mean, they were just another one of those bands, you know.
Right,
I mean,
right.
first time I heard the Beastie Boys playing that shit, there's a compilation called New York Trash. And Roar put it out, the same guys who put out the Bad Brains original cassette thing. And I don't remember which two Beastie Boys songs, but it also had two Bad Brains songs on. I was just like, oh, the Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, this is kind of shitty. You know, it's like, you know, you expect like better shit from the Beastie Boys,
Right.
but
especially at that point.
I think what Beastie Boys turned me on with the Beastie Boys was Paul's Boutique.
Yeah.
I really, dude, that opened my ear up to all these funk records, all these jazz things,
Right.
all these, you know, like I remember like in the midst of like the '90s, my big thing was like Radiohead, like OK Computer,
Right.
you know, the Bends, you know, and people were like, that's not very hardcore. I was like, who the fuck gives a fuck?
That's
You know, you know, you want to sit here and pretend that you've
That
been
you don't
hardcore this
listen
whole
to-
fucking time.
Right,
It's
right.
like I always look at it like you have this box of crayons, right? I want to color with every fucking crayon in the fucking box.
Right.
I don't want to
I
just
don't want
be.
to just wear out the green.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like
Have to
stop.
use that weird sharpener in the back.
Oh, with the 64 fucking box, yeah, dude. That was the hot shit. I never had that. You know, because fucking, you know, 16 or 18 or whatever the fuck it was like more than enough for me.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but yeah, I mean, music is like one of those things, I guess. Hardcore obviously was like a big part of my life, as I'm sure it was part of your life. But I mean, you know, musically, what would you say that would surprise people? Like, what's your guilty pleasures? What do you know, what tickles your fancy outside of like hardcore?
Like bands and artists, or just styles of
genres.
music.
All of it.
Oh, I love a nice like reggae record. I'm a big Sugar Ray fan. I actually like Sugar Ray from like the ground up when I was a kid.
Dude, Mean Machine's a
Julio.
fucking nasty song.
Yeah, yo,
Like, I put that on occasionally, I go, yeah, I want to fucking fuck
yo,
somebody
that shit
up.
was hard. And then they had like the one sweet jam, and people really liked that, so they're like, I'm just gonna make a full record like that.
Well, that's the funny thing about when Fly came out. That was the only song kind of like that on that
That's
record.
what I'm saying, yeah. And
You
then-
know, and they took off from that one thing. I remember seeing them on the Warped Tour that one year when they like broke, you know, and their whole set was like heavy
Tough,
music
like,
until
yeah.
they came to that one thing, and all the girls like woo, you know, like Mark McGrath, you know, whatever. I mean, but what about you, Julio?
I'm all over the place.
Yeah, you got some good-
I go from melodic death metal to black metal. I listen to pop punk. I listen to electronica, hip hop, rap. I'm all over the place. So
There's nothing wrong with that, you
what
know.
kind of electronica? Like,
What kind of electronica?
that's also all over the place. I don't
Like, give me a couple bands. 'Cause you'd be surprised what I know.
Well, I get into like sometimes I've been listening to a lot of synth stuff lately, like synth wave and all that stuff. Time Cop 1983. It's really like 80s inspired, but it's also like pop. You know, it's weird. So that's something that I've been into kind of recently.
Synth pop, there's nothing wrong with synth pop. That shit's catchy. You know, it really is. I mean, if you go back and you look at like the mid '80s shit that came out, or the early '80s shit, you go, "Wow, how did this shit become popular?" Because I remember when MTV came out. You know, we were stealing cable from a neighbor. You know, because me and my family didn't pay for fucking
like
cables.
Jimmy rigged it on the black box. Oh, that was my favorite.
Well, this is when they used to run the cable lines outside the windows.
Right.
You know, so all you do is fucking find a cable, get the splitter, and run it right out.
That's awesome.
You know,
That's
and
so cool.
then you know, then when they started figuring that out, then you bought the illegal box. You know, and then every couple of fucking months they would
They'd
send
fry.
they'd
Yeah.
send the bullet, as we
Yeah.
called it. You know, they would send the bullet, and then you'd fucking reset it, and then send the bullet again until finally we started paying for cable, which was probably like in the early '90s. You know, so we got away with like free cable for like good 8-9 years.
That's dope though. Fuck them.
You know, hey, fuck, exactly. You know, now it's kind of funny because now I'm sure, I don't know if you guys are Fire Stick guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Big Fire Stick.
yeah, jailbroke.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. She jailbroke it. YouTube the
Oh,
tutorial.
nice.
You know,
I
I
was trying to
don't.
pay the guy I work with. I was like, you're good with computers, right? Yo,
Yeah.
fix my shit. I want it all.
So here's the next thing. Since we're going to talk about that, because I jump around, I have no agenda how I do these things.
Hey man, I pay
Um,
attention to the flea.
How we consume music nowadays.
Yeah.
We consume music way differently than we consumed it when, you know, like buying cassettes, buying CDs, buying
And actually
vinyl.
physically looking at
Like,
stuff.
yeah, like
and-
physically having the product in your hand now.
Yeah, I miss it. Or I miss the...
I miss it, but the cost is,
Perfect.
you know, the cost of like just getting it online is like I don't know, like nowadays to like make a physical like product, you know, the cost of like vinyl, for instance, you know,
Right.
like I've looked into it and I'm like, really, it's gonna cost me that much?
That's a
to
lot, yeah.
make a fucking vinyl record, you know, and vinyl, it's cool, you know, it's what
It's like a nice collector's
it's a
piece.
nice collector's piece, but you really don't make your money back on it because you're setting on a lot of it. CD's sort of the same thing. You wind up just giving it away. But nowadays, I listen to everything streaming.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it's just the way of the fucking future now.
Yeah, it's
You
easy.
know?
It's right on your phone. You can look up like anything.
It's nuts that we've gotten to that point. You know, like where things went from like vinyl to tape, you know, to CD. And then all of a sudden, it just CDRs. Everyone fucking burnt CDRs, or you know, was for the older guys, mixtapes.
Right.
And then you know, then cassette tried to make a comeback recently, and I was like, get the fuck
You
out
know,
of here.
a lot of bands have it, and I'm kind of like, that's a very odd.
It's a format. It's a weird format. Though. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie about it.
It's like I feel like it's like some hipster shit to like want a cassette, to be like, well, this is, I want this,
Yeah,
From, like, a modern-
I think it's
it's not
an
like finding
oddity.
an old one.
I think the cassette thing is an oddity. It's cool, but who the fuck has a cassette player anymore?
Yeah.
Right, but yeah, it's,
I
it's
mean,
like an
I-
obscure medium. You gotta go out of your way to like find something to play it.
I mean, recently I had to transfer a bunch of cassette crap over to digital,
Yeah.
and I had to actually go out and buy like a physical like
I was just about to ask, Hannah, how?
the cassette thing.
how nice.
Yeah. I bought this, right, to go through a bunch of old cassettes, right? By the way, it's broken now.
You used it to the point.
I used it. Well, I used it to
I hope you
find.
got everything over at least.
Oh yeah, we did. I
Cool.
you know, my boy fucking had a real deal fucking cassette thing, and I was just like, wow, cassette. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's just like a weird fucking medium, and I just
Did
think
it come with like a download code at least?
what.
Like like having the cassette.
Well, what I transferred, well, what I transferred was old without a cost shit. That is actually coming out on vinyl, and it'll have a download code
Oh, nice.
and all this other shit. But it's just really weird to like go back to a medium that doesn't really fucking isn't relevant anymore.
Yeah.
It's like 8-track.
Yeah.
You know, fucking
Or like setting up the reel to reel.
I remember 8-track. That's the crazy shit. Is just fucking you just let it go. You put it in and it just goes, and then it flips back over again, and you're fucking like, why? But yeah, I think the crazy shit about cassettes is, again, it's like a nostalgic thing.
Yeah. Of course.
It's a nostalgic
Yeah.
thing. You know, we all grew up on cassettes because when CDs came out, they were not cheap.
Yeah.
They were like 20
and
plus.
Yeah.
Which is like paying 40 now, you know, is like, holy fuck, $20 for the fucking Chromex, Age of Coral.
I gotta really want this.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I have to make some wise choices really fucking fast. I have to make some wise choices. I think vinyl has definitely made a comeback to a certain degree, would you say?
Yeah, because I even have like a big vinyl collection. so
I
I'm
don't, unfortunately, I listen to everything streaming. You know, just
Right.
because it's clutter.
More compact. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I used to be, you know, even our movies, you know, we had like 1,000 DVDs.
Yeah.
Like, and now it's just like, fuck this. I can fucking Cody or fucking all the other
even
bullshit.
just like Netflix or like, you know, something.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking nuts. So, what's the plan for Enziguri moving on from here?
We're gonna hit the studio and make a new EP, and then a split with our homies in None Above All.
Oh yes, Lee and those guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think we're gonna call the EP Bronx Zoo.
It's really weird because Lee, you know, Lee's got some platinum records.
Oh yeah.
To his credit, you go, wow. You know, unfortunately, it's with, you know, Takachi
6ix9ine.
Snitch 9. You know, I don't want to break Lee's balls too much about this because I've broken his balls enough about it. I'm like, you work with that clown? You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, really? I'm sorry, Lee. I'm gonna break your.
Lee.
Love you, Lee, but I'm gonna break your balls a little bit because your boy's going to jail. Or maybe he's not. You know, I'd like to see him living in the Midwest with
On
that.
some Henry Hill shit.
Yeah, he's come on. He's not gonna be some Henry Hill shit. It's funny you actually say that because you know that My Blue Heaven is technically Goodfellas too.
Really?
That's loosely based off Henry Hill living in witness protection.
Oh no shit.
Yeah. That it was loosely based off of what Henry Hill was going through when he went to witness protection. You know, so
Gotta
all
check
that
that
crap, him being a felon, you know, in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
it's more or less Henry Hill. Kind of crazy. But other than that, I mean, talking about, like, because you guys are Bronx guys,
Yeah.
do you see, because it's happening in Queens, it's happened in Brooklyn already, this gentrification
Like
thing.
Big G.
Big G.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Soundview and like Mott Haven are really there's definitely like a big turn in like the way the houses and everything are like on the market. It's kind of crazy. It's you know, for so long I felt like we were kind of untouched because we're like as far up as you could be.
Yes.
Northeastern
Yeah.
part of the Bronx.
Yeah. So it hasn't really come up our way yet. I haven't really noticed it. There's like a coffee
It's like, yeah.
shop on Tremont now, but yeah, I would say like Soundview, Mott Haven, like those areas are getting.
It's really, very obvious in Mott Haven. It's happening
Yeah.
quickly there. Soundview, it's going to happen pretty soon because of the ferry and all that stuff. So
I give a lot of respect to the Hydropunk collective that's been, you know, holding some protests and being super against the gentrification of like, the South Bronx. So
Unfortunately, money talks, bullshit walks.
yeah.
You know, you see it everywhere. You know, the west side of Manhattan was a working class neighborhood for the most part, you know, especially lower 57th Street. You know, anything past 57th going to 40 Deuce was all mostly working class, Irish working class, Puerto Rican.
right.
And,
Hey.
you know, now it's become this, you know, people coming here from wherever, like, hey, I'm going to make it in New York. Listen, New York, if you got to have a thick skin to live here.
Definitely.
You know, that's the thing. I think New York has always been, you know, if you can't fucking, you know, they can say if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, which is true. But I think a lot of people just keep pumping money at it, thinking,
Yeah.
well, if I keep pumping money at it, I'll make it eventually. Either that or you're going to go fucking broke from being in debt.
Right.
You know, I mean, just like, here's something we didn't really touch on, how the Bronx has always been like the redheaded stepchild in, you know, compared to other boroughs. You know,
Right.
like Brooklyn had its thing, Queens has its thing, Manhattan has its thing,
Island has-
Staten Island even had its
Killing
thing.
it, Jeff. You're killing it.
Yeah, he really is. You know, I mean, Mother Pugs, they're, you know, they've turned into,
They just had Murphy's Law play.
yeah, they've had a lot of interesting things. I mean, the Bronx has always kind of been, you know, I mean, you guys have done shows at Jimmy Ryan's. You know, the church has its thing every once in a while, which, you know, is what it is. I don't want to get into it.
We did the Alfie's shows for like
The Alfie shows,
3
which
years.
which sucked because I honestly thought that was, you know, a good spot.
Totally.
You know, a little bit out of the way because it's
Yeah.
Throg's Neck. You know, the what's the closest train there?
The 6th
Sixth
train,
train.
and then you got to take
Like a
what?
bus. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
the
the bus.
40, 42.
Or a
The
long ass
42.
walk.
Or a long ass.
Yeah, I know people. I have friends that are like, "Oh, I got off at Middletown, and I just walked down Tremont." I'm like, dude, that's a fucking hefty walk.
Yeah, but it sucks because I just think the Bronx needs a spot.
Definitely.
You know, it's always been lacking in, you know, a spot to play, a spot to call their own.
like a decent club.
Yeah, I mean, Alfie's sort of was that spot for a hot
For a
second.
while, yeah.
For a little bit. And, you know, you were booking there for a while, and I just think that, again, it was definitely an interesting spot to play.
I can't believe Candiria and Billy Club
Yeah.
ended up playing.
I thought it was, you know, I didn't go to that show, but I saw a video of the show. I was like, wow,
They pulled it off.
yeah, you know, and you know, it almost like burned me when Sick of It All did their Boroughs tour, that they didn't
Didn't do the Bronx.
they didn't do the Bronx, but at the same time, where?
Yeah. What could hold Sick of It
You know,
All?
like, I mean, could you see Sick of It All at Alfie's?
No. It would be dope if they showed up and played Mullally
That'd be a
like
total shit
Park
show.
again. Yeah, that'd be
That'd be a
nuts.
total shit
Yeah,
show.
but you know, those shows ended like I said around 97, 98.
Oh yeah, no, that park's not like.
I mean, when I
You can't.
no, well, when it's funny because when I was working up at Yankee Stadium back in 2008, I ran into a couple of dudes who were still working there, and it's a shadow of itself.
Yeah.
You know, like that place is on the verge of just disappearing.
Right.
You know, like eventually the city will take over the spot and be like,
Tear it down.
tear it down or put something else in there, or but that area is still sketchy. Let's get
Yeah.
real. That area of the Bronx is still sketchy.
Yeah.
Always, man.
Yeah, because there's just a constant influx of different people coming on and off the trains and going, every which way.
It's
There's
a
so much.
sketchy
There's so
area
much.
in general, though.
Yeah.
It's just, they got central booking right there. So
Yeah. Every summons I've ever had to go pay, take that one.
I mean, Caesar used to live there right on Sheridan, right? And I used to go up to his place all the time and play dominoes with the Dreads and everything else, and get yelled at for fucking because I couldn't count while playing dominoes, and those guys fucking think 6, 7 moves ahead. I'm thinking, that's a 6? I got a 6. And then
yeah,
you just
I'm the
get
same
fucking
exact way.
yelled at by some fucking Trini guy, like great, about to get fucking stabbed.
Over
Fred, what's in the duffel bag? Yeah, man. And you'd open up and there's a fucking shotgun, and you're like, what am I doing up here? I just wanted to fucking hang out and have some fun. I'm gonna
Some
get
people
killed.
take dominoes serious.
They take dominoes very
all
fucking
time is
serious, I'll tell
definitely
you.
My grandpa used to.
Yeah.
It's a fucking serious game. You can get killed quick. But yeah, like I said, I just think the Bronx has always been this redheaded stepchild, and there's been some fantastic bands that come out of the Bronx. Again, you had like Close Call D9, you had Irate, you had Billy Club Sandwich, and I'm probably missing a handful. You guys,
451.
I mean, we had 3 guys who were more or less out of the Bronx.
Majority rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I had been going there
That's
by
how-
default
that's how it
since
works with us.
'92.
Yeah. It's you, me, and Royce.
Yeah, it's crazy though. It's like I said, I always felt that there was this.
Disconnect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just and it's funny because not to blow up Chucky's spot, but Chucky is probably starting a small documentary on Bronx hardcore metal.
Nice.
Just because it needs to be touched on.
Totally, yeah.
I think Queens and Brooklyn have gotten their due several times over, and Queens, you have bands like Gorilla Biscuits and Crown
Queens
of
has
Thorns,
it all,
and the list goes on. Murphy's Law. Same thing with Brooklyn.
Sick of it all.
Sick of it all, especially. And you actually sang backups on the last
Yeah.
ever record.
Yeah.
How did you
I
get
got to do
invited
some
to that one?
woes. I got to do some woes. I got to do some gang vocals. The Jerry Farley did the last 3, I guess, Sick of It All records at this point, and he did Uptown Boogie Down with us. So he had, I'd gotten married, and 2 weeks earlier, and I had all my favorite bands printed on my ties, and I had the Sick of It All tie because I actually used a quote from Sanctuary in the wedding and stuff. And so Jerry texted me, he's like, yo, are you back from your honeymoon? I was like, nah, man, I'm not going to be back, and I'm not going to be back till this day. He's like, oh, okay, cool. So hit me up when you're back. When I got back, he's like, yeah, we had this Sick of It All, gang vocal thing, but you missed it. I was like, really? He's like, we're actually doing another one this Friday, please show up. I was like, that's fucking amazing.
Did you? Was there an English girl May there?
English girl, May. Not that I met.
All right, because
It might have been the first session.
it might have been the first session because
Because there's I think a completely different group of people.
yeah, that one. I think they did 2 different sessions with it. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Jared Farley. I've known Jared Farley fucking long.
He's a great guy.
He's a great guy, but we when we played Mike Scandalo's birthday show, me and him were telling war stories to my wife about before Jerry got clean.
Yeah.
Jerry was a wild dude.
Yeah. So I heard.
Jerry was a wild dude, and one of these days I'm gonna get him on this program, and
You totally should.
And
he's
we're
a
gonna.
character.
The first time I met his father-in-law, me and him were fucking doing 8 balls.
That's funny.
And just he just showed up and we were both like, dude, maybe I should get out of here.
Yeah.
This isn't a good look. Yeah, I've known Jerry for a long time. It's amazing that someone like that could fucking
Turn it around.
I mean, well, he's been clean for over 10 years now, which God bless him. But the fact that, you know, he's been, like, knocking it out of the park with fucking production for the last fucking 10 plus years. You know, and, you know, obviously working with a band like Sick of It All, who is, you know, is like the gold standard and fucking, you know, what everyone strives to be as far as, like, hardcore goes, you know, because they still bring it.
Oh yeah.
Those guys, you can't.
So good. I was listening to it when we were doing like the gag vocals. I was like, can I just hear the full song like in the headphones through while everybody's like shooting the shit? It was like it was incredible, man. It was cool.
Yeah, no, they constantly put out that product. You know, I can't fuck with those guys. You know, they're always fucking, and you know, and they're not untouchable. Where you know you can reach out to any of those guys
cool,
on
yeah.
on any of the social medias, and they will answer you back. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I have a connection through Craig, sort of through his when he used to play with Straight Ahead.
Right.
I grew up with the singer Tommy Carroll in my neighborhood, so it's always like every time, like, usually it's at those park shows, those Tompkins Square Park shows. Tommy will show up, Craig will show up, and you know you all just kind of like bullshit around. And you're like, it's like this is really weird because I've known Tommy since we were kids,
Right.
so it's just like Tommy,
The two sides of
Craig.
life like colliding.
Yeah, well, Tommy's also an iron worker.
Right. Oh, nice.
You know, so we're in the same local. So it's, you know, my father fixed Straight Ahead's like tour vehicle, like back in the like mid '80s.
That's cool.
So it's just like weird fucking connections, I guess you could say. But what do you hope to get out of hardcore?
Dude, at this point, I think I'm just a lifer. I think I just love it. I don't really expect anything out of it other than I just want to play shows. I just want to continue feeling like the way I feel and the way I've felt since I was like 14 and going to shows. I've since stopped drinking and I kind of reconnected. It meant so much more to me like after kind of like kicking blues because I had something to connect with that I think I didn't for a while. I was just going through the motions.
Do you hope that, you know, for instance, I know, you know, we without saying too much, you know, we're both going to be playing a certain thing, you know, within the future, and it's kind of an honor.
Totally.
It's kind of an honor to play a certain room that, you know, it really was born out of.
Yeah.
You know, because as, you know, by the time this comes out, the show will probably be announced.
Hopefully.
But, you know, CB's spawned punk, A7 spawned fucking hardcore. You know, and you know, anytime I've gone down to that room, I go, wow.
You just like
You
feel.
go, this fucking room is no bigger than
Yeah.
this room right here. You go, huh? You know, it's essentially you're playing in someone's living room. You know?
Yeah.
Just interesting.
It's a cool spot though.
Yeah. You know, I just wish that, you know, there was more spots to play.
Totally.
You know, I mean, Manhattan really doesn't have anything anymore.
It made me so sad to see the Continental as like a shot bar. Because when I was like a kid, that was like both our bands got to play there, and it was like an honor to come down to Manhattan and like play in a place like that.
Never got to do Continental. Just Doug Trigger was an asshole, to be honest with you, the fucking owner. And plus, there was, you know, you had Coney Island High around the corner. You
Right.
had fucking Wetlands or CBs to fucking play, and then there was all these other like random fucking clubs to fucking get into. So it was like we didn't need Continental, but
Right,
I could
right.
see where people go Continental because they did have. I saw plenty of cool shows at Continental.
Right.
You know, Murphy's Law used to do that, their fucking customary fucking St. Patty's Day show at Continental, and saw some really fucking wild shit go down. You know, like Harley Flanagan showing up and playing drums for Murphy's Law for like, you know, a couple songs. You're like,
Right.
you know, like, really? Alright, this is fucking cool. You know, like, this is interesting. Saw Sheer Terror there a bunch of times. You know, it just, like I said, I just think Manhattan, again, I guess it goes with gentrification.
Yeah, everything's in Brooklyn now.
Everything's in Brooklyn, and unfortunately all you have in Queens is Blackthorn, and, you know, not that I want to talk really shit about Blackthorn, but it's really not our club. You know, a lot of, you know, I'll say it because Walter said it. A lot of us are not going to sell tickets.
Yeah.
It just goes, you know, this is not the type, the scene we're in and this type of music we play, people show up. You know, I'm not going to try to sell somebody a $12 ticket, a $10 ticket, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like...
I think, what did we only did one pay-to-play show, and I think we just gave the tickets out. We were like, message us. If you want it, we'll send it to you.
Yeah, no, when you guys were supposed to play the Cormac show.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember you guys was like, fuck it, we're giving these tickets away, and it was an honorable thing to do. There's certain guys who really poo-poo on the bands that do it, and I understand both sides. As a new band, you want to get ahead, you want to do your thing, and sometimes you feel like, I have to sell these, and maybe I'll get the better show. In reality, you're not going to get the better show.
Yeah.
But
I think our take was just, well, we really wanted to play, what was it, the Underdog show.
Yeah.
We played the Underdog show, we were like, fuck it,
Yeah,
what do you want? Tickets? Sure. Like, just gave them out to people, and then we flipped the bill just because it was like, that was worth it to us. This isn't, we're not in it for the money, we just wanted to play.
Well, yeah, if you're into it to make money, just go to work, you'll make money. You know, you don't really make money in the scene.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've said it before, there's only a couple bands that make that money, and unfortunately, you know, there's well-known bands I know who have sold platinum,
Sure.
who fucking do not make money.
Yeah.
You know, you make more money going to work than these bands make selling platinum records just because of the give and take of the fucking business. You know, it sort of sucks to say that, you know, but it is what it is. You know, you got to play music because you have a passion for it.
Because we love it, baby.
You know, there's no other reason to do it except for the passion of it, you know. Enjoy it, do it, whatever. Where do you hope to see the future of the New York City scene go, as far as hardcore goes? Or punk, you know, for that matter.
Take the lead on this one?
Oof. I would hope that there'd be more good venues to play at. I know it's not easy to come by these days, but
I hope they bring it back to Manhattan.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that was like a badge of honor when I was younger to like go into the city and like play a show. Like I love playing the outer boroughs and everything, but like I'd really like to see more, you know, places to play in Manhattan pop up, because now everything's in Brooklyn. You know, it goes back to like the gentrification thing. I don't really want to always be like, I don't know, everything's in Brooklyn now, and it's
sucks. You know, I mean, Brooklyn's kind of a pain in the ass to get to a certain degree, especially if you're coming from, you know, the boogie.
Yeah.
You know, there's at least 2 or 3 trains that you have to take to get there.
Yeah.
I mean, for the guys in bands, we normally drive there because of gear.
Right.
You know, but for people who want to go see us, it's just like, oh, I gotta get
It's
on
a super trek. Yeah, we had such a hard time getting people out to shows. Like our first show was at the Trash Bar, and we had to like take 3 cars and like bus people there just to get, you know, Bronx people to our shows.
my van was filled with people.
Yeah, like
it's fucked up because the Trash Bar just because, you know, Grand Victor was right across the street for a while there. Trash Bar turned into a gym.
Yeah, I heard.
And we walked past there not that long ago because that place, Fuego 718, the Mexican folk art place is right there. So me and Michelle always shop there.
Nice.
But Grand Victory, the spot is still empty.
Really?
They haven't done nothing with it. It hasn't been
Really?
rented. It hasn't been torn down.
That was
It's
like
just sitting empty. And it sort of, really upsetting that,
It just got bought out and then
it got bought out. It's just sitting empty. Nothing's happening with it. At least, as fucked up as CB's getting turned into what it turned into, wetlands, same thing.
Right.
They at least turned into something.
Right.
Progress or whatever you want to call it. Wetlands turned into basically a bullshit lobby for a building or a store, or whatever the fuck it was.
Right.
CB's turned into John Veretos or whatever the fuck, however you say that fucking thing.
Yeah.
Store, which is always weird to walk in there and go, wow, they fixed the floor. It's the first thing I always say.
Basketball in here now.
Yeah, it's really weird because CB's kind of dipped down towards the stage.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this really weird, fucked up floor going down to the stage at CB's. So now when you go into the store, it's all one level, and you go, whoa, I'm closer to the ceiling now. This is really odd. It's like, it's kind of. It's kind of cool they kept some of the, the graffiti and things up, but it's...
Did they?
Yeah, but it's still depressing. Because when you go to where the stage was, you go, damn, man. Fucking played a lot of shows right in this area, and now they're selling, like, jeans for, like, $400.
They had that poster, the poster right behind you.
What?
Hanging. The bar fight, DC hardcore, Super Bowl hardcore.
No, that's not it.
Was that one?
Nope.
No?
Nope, I don't have that poster.
Oh, I thought you did.
The thing with that store is that they still try to put a connection between what happened there and what's there now. Like
Right.
they try to
They're trying to keep some of the.
yeah they're trying to look, there was punk here,
Yeah.
and it's like, check it out, but meanwhile it's like they're advertising shows from like DC or like
Right.
or somewhere else. It's like, none of this happened here, dude. It's like, I get it. You bought a bunch of fucking old posters and put them up,
Right. It's
whatever.
It's very chic, but this isn't our history.
No, it's a manufactured history,
Yeah.
and kind of like anything else, the story, just like I always harp on like 1990s hardcore, because it was a time where it was New York City in general was very rich in culture, very rich in nightlife.
Right.
People could still afford to live.
The working class.
The working class can afford it and go out every weekend and not have to worry about fucking being one paycheck away from being homeless.
Right.
Which is kind of how it is right now.
Yeah.
I always felt that with New York, New York is always in flux. We do not really preserve our history. We tend to tear down and pave over and build anew.
Yeah.
And I think with our music scene, and it's not just punk or hardcore, it's just in general, like Sidewalk Cafe just closed down on Avenue A, and might not mean a lot to a lot of people, but it was a place that had shows for longer than I could remember.
Really.
And like for instance, like Pyramid Club had shows for eons. I think they're just getting ready to start shows up there again.
Oh, nice.
But there was a period there where they just decided to go, disco club.
Yeah.
And you just like, really? And again, like Niagara, they're starting to do shows now.
Yeah.
So you're starting to see little things pick up, and you hope that it continues to grow. But with rents the way they are,
Yeah, it's not.
it's
Doesn't look optimistic.
and as an adult, I understand why places won't want to do shows, because you're like,
Yeah.
you go, well, do I really need to have my bathroom wrecked? A toilet costs a lot of fucking money to
Right.
fucking replace.
A mirror that gets like.
Yeah, a mirror that gets fucked up, or a fucking urinal that gets smashed. These things cost money when you're 18 years old and like, oh fuck, I'm gonna break this.
Yeah.
You don't
Scribble
think
all over the shit.
you don't think anything of it, and
At least there's alcohol. That's kind of par for the course there.
Yeah, I was just saying, any bar in our neighborhood kind of looks like that as it is.
yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, I was actually very surprised that Jimmy Ryan's was actually, the bathrooms were in good shape.
Oh yeah, it's like a
They
classic.
weren't always in good shape.
No.
There's a lot of holes in the walls in the back.
Is there?
Yeah.
They don't even let people in that back room anymore, right? where we had all our gear.
Yeah, it's
Really?
mostly,
Yeah,
yeah,
they-
they used to, yeah.
We used to party back there.
It sucks. I mean, well, hopefully it grows. You know,
Yeah, I hope
hopefully.
something-
I mean, hardcore has always turned into like, you know, there's still basement shows that go on.
Sure, yeah.
You know, there's still alternate venues that happen.
Right.
Whether they last more than a year or not, different story.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but guys, it was a pleasure.
Always.
You
Thank
know,
you for having
it was
us.
definitely a pleasure. I'm a little fucked up. That's fine. It is what it is. You know, Dave,
No,
Julio,
thank you very much, man.
thank you guys. Peace.